Good morning, everybody. I'm late. It's a pretty good story, I'll have to tell you. I will have to tell you. Well, you may like it, you may not like it. I'm sharing this around just so you know. Hold on. Hold on. Getting this on Onward with Molly. Y'all go ahead and say hi. Do your thing. If you're here for the first time, let me know. I've shared this in my groups. Um, all three of them that I admin. And hold on, I'm trying to get this to where I can absolutely see people, which would be great. See who's here. Good morning, Cheryl. How are you? I see my first comment, at least here on my phone I see it. So hopefully you can hear me good. Let me put this where I need it so I can see things here. Hold on. Okay. Um, yeah, we got a few people on here. This is all over. This is different. So if you're my Onward, no matter what group, or my Team Onward group, or maybe my VIP customer group, um, this is every Tuesday morning. I share my devotional with y'all. I share with you guys part of what helps me get through my week, and most of the time, my day, every single day. When you wonder, um, man, how does she just bring it? How does she just bring it? How does she show up? How does she do this? Well, my deal is I show up because that's what I do. I do because, God gives me the strength that no matter what I'm going through, and I know a lot of you think I just don't go through anything. Molly must not ever have it rough in life. She must not have battles or trials or any of that. I got news for you. I got plenty. I wish I could share them and give them away. Just not going to be how it is. And today was a struggle. Last couple of days have been a struggle. Lee and I worked, of course, all weekend, and it was a long weekend, but it was a profitable weekend, and we were both really, really, really tired. And let me see who else is on here real quick. Hold on, guys. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Hi, Rosemary. I see you, and Patty. Good morning. Um, so I, you know, yeah, I've struggled this week, guys. I've been back to walking. I had to take a break between breaking my arm, all that good stuff, and, gotten back to exercising and eating better. And Lee and I just came off a fast from desserts. For a month, we uh, didn't eat any cakes or cookies and candy bars. And, like, when I fixed that honey bun cake, I couldn't lick the beaters. That was difficult. This happens. This happens. And it was the first time Lee or I have ever completed a fast. That was huge. It was huge. Like, we stayed on task and we did it, and we were doing this with our church. And Lee and I love to cook, and Lee and I love our sweets. I don't feel it. We don't overindulge in anything, but if we want it, we have it. Well, sometimes we overindulge. You know what I'm saying? Um, but we didn't for the month of February. Matter of fact, it was 26 days, I think, something like that. And I was like, wow. In the end, it was getting rough, but we did it. Good morning, Sue Ann. How are you, friend? Good to see you. Hi, Michelle. Our extended family has recovered from COVID. Oh, that's so good. We get our van today. Yay, Sue Ann, you get the van. That's been on the prayer list. Sue Ann they've been needing a vehicle, and I can tell you for weeks, probably a couple of months, we've been praying about this for her, and I just kept saying, I believe that the right vehicle is going to show up at the right time. Be patient, keep asking God to direct you, and I believe He will. And obviously, it happened. That's awesome. So happy for her that things are coming together in her life, which is a good thing. Um, but this morning I'm late. Yes, I'm late because I got to tell you, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it this morning, and I am not a person who likes to come on here and do anything that I'm not feeling. Uh, and I just stayed in bed longer purposely. And God wouldn't leave me alone. And at the same time, I was saying, there's got to be a reason that I'm not feeling this. There's got to be a reason that something that I know I've been called to do every Tuesday morning, there's got to be a reason that I'm not feeling this. And I realized that the feeling probably wasn't God at all. The feeling was probably the devil, because something that I was going to share, or that I'm going to share today, and maybe I don't even know what that is yet, but maybe he doesn't want you to hear it. Maybe if you slip into this and you're having a rough day, and maybe had I stayed in bed or just said, I'm not doing it today, I'm skipping it, I'm not feeling 100% better, I'm tired, I'm not in a good mood, um, I'm just not going to do it. And what if what I'm about to say to you is something that you needed? Sidebar for just a moment. Have you all noticed, like, for all my Avon sisters who get on here and my customers, I mean, the Avon apparel fashion, not to mention, you all know how I am about earrings, right? I love earrings. I'm an earring hoe, I admit it. I mean, everything down to my slippers today is Avon. I love that from washing my hair this morning, my makeup, my earrings, my tops. My husband spilled some coffee on the bar that he didn't see because, he's legally blind. And my Cucina wipes were right there. And I wiped the counter with those and a little bit on the floor. Uh, I am very thankful today for a company that I was led to that supplies so many needs in my life. I just need to say that. I need to say that because sometimes I take it for granted, because I've been in this company almost 19 years, but it has really expanded into like our home products and our cleaning products and our kitchen products. And I just made cheesecake brownies yesterday for our Bible study last night, and I used our magnetic measuring spoons and the measuring cups, and they're amazing. They are amazing, I have to tell you. And I have lots, like, guys, I have Pampered Chef. I have some of the most expensive stuff ever. I'm going to have to do a video on those. I just am. I actually held them out. I didn't put them away because I was so impressed. Look, there was a time when Avon would put stuff like that out. Honestly, it wasn't very good. There were times back in the day where some of the products they put back, I'd be like, okay, how do I really get on and talk about this? Because I feel like it's not bad, it's just mediocre. But lately, no. Their fashion, I mean, I have been able to wear tops, um, wear my jewelry, and even if it's the lipstick I have on or the bronzer that I have on, people asking, what do you wear? Or what products do you use for your hair? And when I can say Avon, people are astounded, like, well, Molly, it doesn't look that way. Well, I want to know, what does that look like to you then? I mean, what does Avon look like to you? Have you had a bad experience or something? Because it is absolutely just great. And when I hadn't worn this top in a while, and it's so soft, and it's I don't know if you guys can really see it, but look at this, just the detail. I don't want my screen to go. The detail on this top, and it's soft, and it's just okay. All right, that's not what this segment's about, but I just have to tell you, if you're my customer and I have like forgot about you, or you haven't gotten a brochure lately or something, you need to contact me and say, Molly, please send me the link to your brochure, or send me a brochure. And if you're watching this because it's been shared by an Avon rep, you need to contact them, because if you have not seen an Avon brochure lately, or you have not seen the things that they have that are for everybody, stuff for my 15-year-old granddaughter. Let me tell you, on up to my daughter-in-law, and on up to, they say grandma's Avon. Well, maybe, but I'm kind of happy to take care of the grandmas too. Holla, just saying. So, I just think that I am part of an amazing company that, by the way, is the start of direct sales, the start of beauty. And I am so glad that God led me to this. And there are so many times, I'm not going to lie, that I have had to say to him, is it my time to say goodbye? Is it my time to move on? Because I felt like, well, if my business wasn't going well, if I felt like I was lacking, if I wasn't feeling it, that I would say, is this not for me? And somewhere along the line, shortly after that, I was absolutely assured that this is where I belong. And I know some people don't get it. I have a lot of people in my family who don't get it. Probably most people in my family don't get it. I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with who I am. I associate with all kinds of people. I talk to everybody. I believe that's what God made me to do. And today, the devil had me. I was just going to put a little post on that said, sorry guys, not today. That's what I was going to say. Do you ever feel like you don't want to get up and you don't want to show up? I don't even know if this is what these devotions are going to say. Well, maybe in a way I do. But today I didn't want to show up. And I'm not here to tell you that's okay. Because it's not okay not to show up. Not just to not show up in life. Because that can become a habit. And I don't think that's what we were put here for. And I know it's not what I was put here for, not to show up. Just simply because I wasn't feeling it. Maybe I needed to do something to bring it. Like read my Bible this morning, and we were in Psalms in our Bible study and talking about how great God is and all he has control of, but he is consistent. And we're supposed to try to be like him. And I thought, I need to be consistent. Molly, there's somebody out there, even if it's one person. I need you to know this. For a lot of people in our group, and I don't judge you for this, that when you see that it says Molly's Moments with Jesus, you keep scrolling because you're like, that's not what I'm in the group for. It's okay. But Jesus is about more than just Jesus. Jesus is about life. And sometimes Jesus is there to help us through life. And he uses other people in your life. It's not necessarily him coming down just having the one-on-one with you, right? But sometimes he sends people because he knows that you're experiencing a bad time. And he needs you to be introduced to somebody who just might be in the same place as you, or who maybe has been there before. And if you followed me on my journey over the my whole life, but I've only been sharing it for the last 14 or 15 years, if you're that person and you've been following, then you know that, man, you have been able to relate to me on a lot of different avenues. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm going to flip the channel a little bit today. I know normally I do The Chosen in the end. We're reading from The Chosen Devotional. This is book 1, 40 Days with Jesus. And this basically, if you haven't, again, I'm going to keep saying it every single week. If you haven't watched The Chosen, you need to download the Angel app. It's free. And you need to start with season 1. And you just need to watch. And if you're wondering why Molly is so hyped on Jesus, if you wonder why there's such an endearing love for me, for who this Savior is, for who this person who came down here is, when you see him through the eyes of the people who followed him, or the people who met him, sometimes the people who came before him, I think sometimes you'll understand. So we are on chapter 22, okay? And last week, what did we talk about last week? Hold on, I'm just looking here. Oh, it was useful. That's right. You can go look at all the replays on my YouTube, Onward with Molly. They're all on there, and they're under lists, so you can see them. These are amazing. This one chapter is based out of Luke 5, verses 30 through 32, and I thought this was interesting. It says the name of the chapter is All Y'all. That's so typical for me, y'all. I say it all the time, right? But all y'all. And the verse says, and the Pharisees and their scribes grumbled at his disciples, saying, why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? And Jesus answered them, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. So those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick, they do. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. People say, Molly, how come you hang out with all us representatives? Molly, how come you don't just help your successful team? Molly, how come you don't just hang with the top leaders or associate with the top leaders or just the content creators or Molly, why do you do these lives and why do you open a group and why do you have all those reps in there? And Molly, some of these people, they're just like, I can't even believe what they post, Molly. I'll tell you why. Because I have been called to love people. I have been called to help people. In life, in their Avon business, maybe with their relationship with their kids, maybe with their relationship with God. Molly, why do you hang with people they've never even hit premiere? Molly, why do you take the time to answer the questions? Why? Because when you have been blessed, even through the hard times of your life, and when you have been where these people are currently at in their life or business, you try to give them a hand up, not a handout. I am not called to love the people who are easy to love, who are easy to celebrate with. It's very easy to sit on a stage with 50 other people or on a stage, where somebody is giving you an award, and that is great. But sometimes people need to be celebrated for just being in the game. Sometimes they need to be celebrated for just showing up in life. This morning, I didn't feel like showing up, y'all. I didn't. I just felt tired and I didn't feel inspired. And my body was hurting from walking now. And I thought, but Molly, you have been called to show up. It's not a good enough reason just not to feel like showing up. It's not a good enough to just say, well, you know what? They'll figure it out. They'll go read something in honor. Or they'll figure it out. If I don't show up, they won't miss me anyways. It's okay. But what if there was one person who is scrolling today? One person who sees this on YouTube who just needed to know that somebody showed up for them. When nobody else would celebrate that one cell, when nobody understood that they got up out of bed this morning and how hard that was to just put their feet on the floor. Jesus understands that. And maybe you can't hear him say that, but sometimes he uses other people's voices, like mine, to tell you that he understands. When life is hard and you feel like everybody has it better than you, that everybody sees the success but you, that everybody has a relationship with a significant other but you, when everyone's relationship with their kids is awesome on social media, but you are empty, you are tired, you just didn't feel like even showing up today, I'm here to tell you, show up anyways. You took a breath today, which means somewhere in today's world, you're going to do something that needed to be done. You're going to do something or say something that's going to show somebody that you cared. And did you know, even though it's awesome to know that people care about you, do you know that when you can show somebody else that you care by simply pushing your cares about your own life aside in the moment, that it can do something for you, because suddenly you realize why you should have gotten up today, why you should have put your feet on the floor. Maybe your kids hug you all the time, but maybe today they just needed that extra squeeze. Maybe today, that text that you could send your teenager, that maybe you had a full blown out before they left today. Maybe you don't understand the path they're taking. Maybe your husband, you just feel like he doesn't get you, or your wife, or your significant other. But maybe just to send a text and say, I just want you to know that I love you through it all. Tough times make tough people. We're going to get through this. That's my job. God told me that somebody needed to hear that I cared because you got up today and decided to put your feet on the floor. I have not come for the righteous, but for sinners to repentance. Listen, it's the same thing. Why am I here always telling you about Jesus on Tuesdays? This is why. This is why. Because I am here letting you know that you are not alone. And he has put us on this earth to get through things together. Yeah. Let me read this to you. To grumble, not at Jesus, but at his disciples. What a passive-aggressive way for the Pharisees and scribes to behave. And you know, back in that day, all the Pharisees and the scribes were aggressive. Sometimes not even passive-aggressive, just plain, because they liked all the attention. They liked people telling them how great they were. They had the legal authority and personalities to chastise Jesus. Instead, they directed their challenge to the ones they were insulting. Remember, why are you eating with them? Why are you eating with tax collectors and sinners and people who are sick and people who are poor? Why? Why are you showing up for them? And I imagine this ragtag dinner party had no idea how to respond. All of it was so new to the disciples. They just met Jesus. So while they were thinking he was maybe the long-awaited Messiah, they couldn't have been 100% sure. Not to mention they were, in fact, hanging out with the society's most despised, a category that included a few of them. Certainly, the Pharisees' question had crossed the minds of everyone sitting at that table. I'll bet they leaned in to hear Jesus' response, like, okay, they've asked him, why are you here? Let's see what he has to say. He had recently gained a lot of notoriety. People were traveling from Galilee, Judea, and Jerusalem to hear him preach and see him heal. No doubt the assumption of the religious leaders was that he'd be impressed. He would be impressive. That he'd look and behave like them. Like someone worthy of the reports they were getting. But on the contrary, instead they found a normal looking guy, hanging out with normal people, doing normal people things like eating, that is, when he wasn't casting out demons and making blind people see. Luke 5:29 says that Jesus was reclining at the table with them. He was relaxed. He was shooting the breeze. He was getting to know them and they him when the Pharisees showed up at Matthew's house uninvited. I wonder if they rang the doorbell before barging in. I wonder if they stood in the corner whispering like middle school girls. I wonder if they grumbled loudly but pretended Jesus couldn't hear them from 3 feet away. I wonder if they came prepared with specific questions but changed course when they saw Jesus with the riffraff. I wonder if anyone at the table was offended by their question. Or if they were too used to being hated and judged to care. I wonder if the Pharisees' question endeared the insulted guests to Jesus all the more. Surely his answer did. I'll see your passive-aggressive, indirect question and raise you with an indirect statement of my own. I'm calling sinners to repentance, not the righteous. While his answer shut them up, which was no doubt fun for the spectators, I have a feeling the Pharisees sensed the meaning of Romans 3:10 through 12. None is righteous, no, not one. No one understands, no one seeks God. All have turned aside, together they have become worthless. No one does good, no, not one. Perhaps a more direct response would have been, I'm hanging out with the people who know they need me. I don't hang out with people who are too self-righteous to know they need me. But you do need me. All y'all desperately do. What was his answer in today's terms? I'm hanging out with the people who know they need me. I don't hang out with people who are too self-righteous to know they need me. But you do need me. And y'all desperately do. Man. I'm not Jesus. I'm not close. But man, do I want to be like him. I don't want to become like the scribes and the Pharisees. I don't want to become like, leaders or people in life who decide that they're just too uppity. They're just too good to hang out with me. They're too good to have a conversation. They're too good to, you're dirty, you're clean, you don't dress like me, you haven't washed your hair, you haven't done this. Man, thank God for offering health for my sin. Man, and I ask him every day to not let me lose my love for people. You all heard me say in a previous live that every day I write in my devotional, God, please help me to walk slow enough to experience Jesus fully and love people deeply. Do you realize that without Jesus in my life, I cannot love people deeply? Because it's hard when we're told to love the people who despise us, who don't want anything to do with us, who talk about us, who backbite, people now who I'm sure, even as I sit here doing this devotion, drinking coffee, who are like, you know what, we really like Molly, but this thing right here that she's doing, this thing, we could really do without it. I don't know what she's doing. You don't have to know what I'm doing. But in reality, it's no different than what I've always done. Sometimes the basis of what I do on live is about sharing great products. Sometimes the basis of what I'm doing is to help and encourage other people in our business. Sometimes it's to laugh and to have fun and to love each other and to laugh at myself. But do you know where I've learned all that? I've learned all that through Jesus. That he taught me that through the hardest times of my life, whether it was losing my mom or whether it was going through surgery and fearing cancer or losing people in my life or bad times with my boys or financial hardships or struggles in my marriage, no matter what it was, that there was always love to be found somewhere. Because with him, there is always love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor, even your mean neighbors. I know that's hard. And for some of you who've been watching me for a long time, especially in the group, when you've had private conversations, maybe about how people come off in the group and maybe how people answer, maybe they're snarky, or somebody will come on under a post and they'll do this. And it's the easy thing is to just get mad and to just get hurt and to slam them, right? It's easier just to say, well, watch this. The hard thing is to pull back for a moment. To pull back, count to 10, sometimes 20, and to say, what kind of a day or what kind of a life have they been leading that would make them come off how they are? Has somebody in their life constantly tried to keep them down? Has somebody in their life constantly just beat them up emotionally, maybe even physically? Maybe they feel judged all the time. I've had to deal with many people who, even the snarky ones, I've had to come to them and say, look, you can't be that way in my group. You can't be that way on my posts. Tell me, how do you think that's helping? Sometimes it's not the information, it's the presentation of the information. Without going into major details, I was having a conversation through email with corporate about presentation, about something like it's not the message, it's the communication of the message. Are you delivering what you're trying to deliver with love and respect and showing somebody that they are important and that you're just trying to help them or to get the right information? Because if you're a bulldozer, it's not going to help anybody. Golly days, guys. If I came at you like some of the churches I was raised in with fire, brimstone, hell's a real place. Do not misunderstand me. Your eternal soul depends on whether you end up in heaven or hell. It's not the message today, but you've heard me say it enough. It's not hard to get there. It's not hard to figure out that you want heaven. It is simply by believing that God sent his son. Died on the cross for you. Died on the cross for you. Raised again the third day. Believing that he is the Son of God. and accepting him into your life and trying to follow his example to be better. It's so easy, right? But if I'm going to yell at you about it, if I'm going to tell you what a bad, rotten person you are, and look, I'm a sinner, dude. I sin every day. I know Jesus, and I'm a sinner, and Jesus knew that. Why do you think he did what he did? He said, there's this girl, Molly Stonebib. Let me tell you about her. Yep, she's going to lose her mother. She is going to basically flip me off in life. That's what she's going to do for a long, long time. She's going to have a bad relationship with her dad. She's going to have a bad marriage. She's going to jump into it for all the wrong reasons. She's going to have kids. She's going to get a lot of stuff wrong with them, and she's going to be pissed off in life. Now, she's still going to have some love in her life, and she's still going to be like trying to make everybody happy. So there's going to be some examples there. But we, in order to take care of all those sins, all those things she's done, all those rotten things, the lies, whatever it may be. Matter of fact, I remember the one time I stole a pair of pantyhose when my mom was alive. That's a whole nother story. I have to tell you about that one day, because how I thought I wasn't going to get caught is beyond me. But that's a whole nother story. But he knew I was going to do that, and he said, I gotta do something to forgive her so that she can be forgiven of those sins. And when she goes through a tough time in church and she loses faith in God because of bad Christians and a bad church, and she decides she doesn't want anything to do with it, but yet it's not that she doesn't want anything to do with me, because right now she's associating me with the church and bad Christians. I got to provide a way for her to know she can be forgiven and still get it wrong sometimes, but end up with me for all eternity, because I paid the ultimate price. I died for those sins that not only she committed, but that she's going to continue to make and get things wrong sometimes. See, he's probably thinking about you too. But when I think about me and my almost 60 years and all my mess ups, believe me, he did it for me. And I'm still trying to figure out why he would love me so much that he would do that for me. They say you don't truly understand until you get older how you really should have done things differently when you were younger. I didn't have the ability to spend a lot of time with my grandmother. I was very young when my mom's mom died, and of course my mom died at 44. And I didn't know my dad's parents, but I have known other people's grandparents. And I would wonder, where did they get all this knowledge? Like when they tell you things about life, when they tell you how you should handle things, I realize they know because they've lived it. Yeah, because they've been there, right? Why do I try to help so many people within the Avon community with life and business and your eternity and everything else? Because I have been there, y'all. And I have been called to love you even when you don't love me. That's okay. Because you hang out with me for the information. You hang out with me, some of you, for the motivation or the inspiration. But somewhere along the line, you're going to get the real truth in this. And the real truth is, quit all the facades. Quit trying to be what you're not. Quit trying to act like your life is perfect, because it's not. Because if you don't have Jesus in your life, there is some unfulfillment there, guys. There is something going on in your life where you're like, I don't even have a reason to be unhappy, but I am not as happy as I should be. That was me. Even when I had God in my life, I had kind of put him up on the shelf because I was so angry about things. He was there. I just didn't want to acknowledge him. Until, of course, something goes wrong. And when that something goes wrong, I'm on my knees, right? Please, God, save this person. Please, God, help me through this. Please, God, show me the way. Please, God, my son has been in an accident. Please, God, this. And you know what? He could have very well said, are you kidding? You just put me up on a shelf for how many years? And now you're asking me to come in and intervene or to help you get through it? He doesn't say that. He says, here I am, Molly. I've been waiting for you to get back to me. Every single time. This latest time, I've just decided that I am going to, for the first time in my life, I am actually nourishing my relationship with God. I am actually trying to learn more about how who I am can be used to help others. Because I'm a true believer that that's why he's got me here. And that's why he has saved me from so many bad instances in my life where things could have gone so obviously much worse than they did. But yet, I'm still here, y'all. If you're still here, you do have a purpose. You do have a purpose. Don't waste your purpose. Figure out who you are. And instead of just saying that you believe in God, maybe try to get to know him. I wish I had started years ago. I wish that I had stopped listening to the wrong people tell me how bad I was because of this, this, and this. And I had just listened to what God said. That's what I wish. And that brings me to what this devotion was today. You all are, I'm telling you, the devil didn't want me to read any of this to you. He didn't. I know he didn't, because as soon as I opened it up this morning, I said, okay, God, thank you for speaking loudly and telling me to get out of that bed and in the shower and to make a difference today. So let me read you this. Again, you all know we're in Jesus Calling. February 28th. Stop judging and evaluating yourself, for this is not your role. Above all, stop comparing yourself with other people. This produces feelings of pride or inferiority, sometimes a mixture of both. I lead each of my children along a path that is uniquely tailor-made for him or her. Comparing is not only wrong, it's also meaningless. Don't look for affirmation in the wrong places. Your own evaluation or those of other people. Let's say it again. Don't look for affirmation in the wrong places. Your own evaluations or those of other people. The only source of real affirmation is my unconditional love. Many believers perceive me as an pleasable judge, angrily searching out their faults and failures. Nothing could be farther from the truth. I died for your sins so that I might clothe you in my garments of salvation. This is how I see you, radiant in my role of righteousness. When I discipline you, it is never in anger or disgust. It is to prepare you for face-to-face fellowship with me throughout all eternity. Immerse yourself in my loving presence. Be receptive to my affirmation, which flows continually from the throne of grace. And here are the Bible verses. Luke 6:37, do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. That's a hard one, right? Isaiah 61:10. I will rejoice greatly in the Lord. My soul will exult in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation. He has wrapped me with a robe of righteousness. In Proverbs 3:11 and 12, my son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those he loves, as a father the son he delights in. I don't know. You think he had me show up for a reason? I think so. If you guys are feeling like you're just worthless, did you read the first? Stop judging and evaluating yourself. This isn't just about people who judge you. Stop judging and evaluating yourself. You're going to be your worst critic. Do you not know that? You're going to be your worst critic, for sure. Stop. My God is an awesome God. He's not there with a magic wand playing the magician of the century, doing your every bidding. Because I have news for you. Just like kids, sometimes what they want is not the best thing for them. When you're a child of God, sometimes what we want is not the best thing for us. But sometimes we don't know that until we get through that part of the journey. Sometimes you don't know that until you can look back like grandma or grandpa or that great aunt or whoever that is who has been there, who has lived it, and you're like, well, what do they know? And then later on in life you realize, wow, they knew a lot. Because they realize that as much as they think they want what they want, sometimes God has a different plan, but also a better plan. This is what I'm learning. The struggle is real. Mine started getting out of bed this morning. So if you're that person, don't feel like you're alone. I'm here to be that honest. I almost didn't show up for you today. But God didn't leave me alone. If you're not thankful for anything else today and you needed this, don't thank me. Thank Him. That He wouldn't leave me alone and told me to get up and get it done. And to let people know that no matter how low you think you are, maybe people in church will judge you and they're like, we don't want people like that in our church, or we don't want them unless we can change them, right? I need you to know that's not who Jesus is. Jesus wants you just like you are. You can build a personal relationship with Him right where you're at now. Stop trying to change 50 things before you decide that you're good enough for God. Because I got news for you. We'll never be good enough. Never be good enough. But He loves us anyways, and He wants to use every imperfection that we have for His glory. I hope that you see that, or that you'll start to see that. And I hope you find that a lot sooner than I did. Because I really wish that I had 20 or 30 or 40 previous years that I did not let bad experiences keep me away from a relationship with God. Guys, it hasn't changed me for the worst. It's changed me for the better. If anything, it's showing me how to have more love. It's showing me that God has a purpose for me. It's showing me that I can help others understand that no matter where you are, I don't care if you're in the highest debt you've ever been in. I don't care if you've lost your vehicle. I don't care if you're the worst of the worst for relationships and you're like, Molly, relationship with God, I can't have a relationship with nobody. I can't even keep anybody in my life. But if you start with him, see, he's not going to walk away from you. And once you are bold enough to understand what he wants from you, man, the sky's the limit then. Take it from somebody who's figuring that out. If you have prayer requests, I hope you've dropped them in the comments. If not, you can send them to me in private. I'm still going to pray for you, even if you don't. Even if you don't say hi, I know you're there. I know you're watching. I get you. You got the replay. You didn't, oh, maybe Molly's talking about this or that. Maybe it's funny. Oh, there's plenty of funny, believe me. But on Tuesdays, between, 10:30 and 11:30, it's all about the fact that his grace is sufficient for us. So I hope that it's helped you. And if you want to share this or you think somebody else needs to hear it, please do it. Please share it. Maybe you're like, well, this is good, Molly, but it really wasn't for me today. That's all right. Maybe it wasn't meant for you. Maybe it was meant for somebody else. To my Avon people, I will see you this evening, Tuesday evening, and we will talk. It's Closeout Tuesday with Avon. So leaders are out there working their team and their sales, and you're out there trying to pick up those last sales from customers. Um, Love what you do, guys, even during the toughest times. Be the best you can be at what you choose to be. That's what he calls us to be, our best in all that we do. I'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks.